Welcome to the channel and my unboxing review for Kaico's HDMI adapter for Sony PlayStation 2. In this video I'm going to show you the unbox, obviously, show you what you get in the package. I'm also going to give you my experience based on around about 10 hours usage at this time with this product. On top of that, I'm also going to show you some captured footage from games so you know what to expect from this device. And as you can see on the back of the packaging, you've got 240p support, which is the generic RGB connection on a PlayStation 2, as well as 576i, which is a component connection. I'll get to that a little bit later, but for now, let's have a look inside the box. So what we've got is your registration for 12 months warranty support and a very nice looking manual. I'll be honest, initial impressions of opening this product is actually very high quality. I really love what they've done with the manual. So many of these devices now, you open the box and it's literally a microscopic piece of paper you can't read with the human eye. You can't need a magnifying, or I do anyway, need a magnifying glass to see what the hell the thing says. This is really clearly laid out, some beautiful diagrams and a very well made manual. It actually covers everything you need to do, which, to be honest, again, some of the other devices I've seen on the market don't do that as well. Sometimes you'll look at it and there's a step missing. You're like, well, what the hell do I do with this piece of equipment or whatever? But it's got very clear instructions, tells you exactly what to do, how to configure your PlayStation 2, which I'm going to show you later in the video as well through footage that I've captured, just so you're 100% clear on exactly how to set your Kaico HDMI PlayStation 2 adapter up. So multiple languages in here, which is really great. So obviously lots of support from various different countries. Even got a note section. That reminds me of the old game manuals we used to get back in my day. So it's a pretty cool little neat feature. So let's get to the product. And this is the adapter itself. I'm going to take that out last. I'll actually remove it from the box so I can see everything else. So what we've got here is the USB power cable. Now this adapter does need power, and it needs it from a USB source. So you've got a micro D connection there, which is for connecting the device to USB. Now you can connect it direct to your PlayStation 2's USB port, or you can actually plug it into an external USB power source of sorts. We've also got a 1.8 meter 4K HDMI cable, not bad quality, and the device itself. So this is the Kaico HDMI PS2 adapter. Now I really like this device because it's actually quite compact. A lot of these devices are generally dongles and don't sit very well on the PlayStation 2. This one, I'm hoping, is actually going to plug in very securely. We'll see that in a second. Now we've got an LED on the adapter there. Initially I thought it was a bit of spot. It's a bit of a mark on the adapter, but it's not. It's actually a LED light. And we've also got our switch on the adapter as well, and this is the proprietary PlayStation connection, which you'd have seen on PlayStation, PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, I believe, as well. So there's the adapter, and then obviously the manual, which came from the box, very well printed manual, and our 12-month warranty, along with a 4K 1.8 meter HDMI cable. So if you need more than 1.8 meters, you'll need to buy a cable to go with this as well, depending on where your device is. And finally, that USB power cable for powering the Kaico device. Connecting and setting up your Kaico HDMI adapter is a real cinch. Very easy to do. First, locate your AV multi-out port on the back of your PlayStation 2. Don't worry if your PlayStation 2 doesn't look like mine. I think mine's a second generation unit. I might be wrong. So gently plug in the AV cable there. Make sure it's seated properly before you push it all the way in. And this is the Kaico device. You can see that toggle switch on the right of the HDMI port. That defines your resolution. You're connecting the Kaico 2 on your TV, which I'll explain in a bit. So I've laid it down now so I can get a firmer connection, like so. That's actually quite nice and snug in there. So Again, much better than some of the other adapters I've seen on the market, because they aren't as secure as this. This is actually a really snug fit. So there's the toggle switch for setting RGB or YPBPR, which is the component setting if you were using one of those 5-point component cables. So as you can see, very easy to do this, really simple, and it doesn't take up much room, and it's not a dongle, so it's a lot more flexible to move around. A lot of the other solutions on the market I've seen are dongle orientated, and also out the box expect you to have your PlayStation 2 configured to component, which most of us won't have. Way back in 1999, when PlayStation 2 released, CRT TVs or cathode ray tube TVs were what you would be using in order to play your PlayStation 2. Now, the connection that you would use for audio and visual is called a SCART cable. There's the meaning there for those of you who are interested. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. I won't do it any justice. But this cable is probably what 98% of you were using. You could also use a component cable, which I'll go into in a bit, but in the meantime, most of you were using this. And if this is familiar, or this is the cable you've got with your PlayStation 2, or that you're currently using, you will need to change the toggle switch to the RGB setting on the Kaico HDMI adapter for Sony PlayStation 2. Once you've done that, you can then connect a HDMI visual cable to your PlayStation 2 and get an output from your TV. Once you've got that far, we can go to the next step, which I'm going to show you right now using this video from the setting menu in PlayStation 2. In order to get the best out of your Kaico HDMI PlayStation 2 adapter, you need to go into your system configuration on your PlayStation 2, down to the component output. Now, as you see here, mine's set to CPBPR. Yours will probably be set to this, RGB. Simply change it to the YPBPR setting, as I'm doing here, and then press 0 to back out, and now you'll see that that's been selected, and then back out of the settings again. At that point, your setting is saved. Now, the next step is to actually power down your PlayStation 2 and slide the toggle switch on your Kaico HDMI PlayStation 2 adapter to the left. That will ensure that the YPBPR setting is enabled and that you'll get 576i resolution out of your PlayStation 2. So I've put together some game clips here so that you can actually see what the HDMI adapter for Sony PlayStation 2 from Kaico can do. All of these were captured using an AVerMedia HD2 device with splitters in between, so I can connect a multitude of devices for capture purposes. So all of these were recorded with this Kaico adapter, and I'm really impressed with the results of this. I actually have owned 3 different PlayStation 2 HDMI adapters now, and this Kaico device is by far the best, and for several reasons. The first is this is the best visual audio experience I've seen on any of the 3 HDMI PlayStation 2 adapters I've tested, and I think part of that is due to the compact design of the Kaico and the fact that it's a cable connection to the PlayStation 2 and not a dongle. All of the dongles that I've tested have been very loose fitting in the PlayStation 2, and that on its own will induce noise, and that's probably why this device has actually a much better audio and visual output. Another key selling point of this product for me is the fact that you get everything in the box, and it's extremely simple to install, and it's supported with very good documentation to help you do that. None of the other products that I tested so far were anywhere near as close to the quality or the information that the Kaico had. Another key benefit to the Kaico is that you can attach it instantly to your HDMI TV once you've configured that toggle switch. All of the other PlayStation 2 adapters I've purchased, which is 2 so far, couldn't do that. I actually had to have an old CRT TV or a TV with a SCART connection on it in order to pre-configure my PlayStation 2 to component before I could even use the adapter. If I connected it without doing that, I got no image. So with the Kaico, you don't have that worry. You can connect it in either of the two resolutions depending on how you were originally using your product, as I explained earlier in the video. And that is a massive selling point, because there aren't many of us these days with CRT TVs in our ownership, or even modern day plasma or LCDs with SCART connections. They just very few and far between. So with all that said, it's time for me to give the Kaico HDMI adapter for Sony PlayStation 2 a review score. And as you can tell from my video, I've had a really good experience with this product. It's very high quality, and as a result, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I'd highly recommend this. I've wanted to play my PlayStation 2 games and record them for a very long time now, and I've just not been able to do that with the previous products that I purchased because the quality's just not been there. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for watching. Maybe drop me a like, maybe subscribe to the channel if you found the video in any way useful or enjoyed it. Take care, keep well, and most importantly, come back soon.